Hello everyone. So I get it, you read the title, your finger's hovering over the dislike button, but please just hear me out, let me say my piece before you actually go through with it. Don't click yet, let me explain myself. So I'm actually an avid chinchilla owner. I've had Gus right here, aka Chunty Mungus, for almost like 3 years at this point, I think. And right here we have Teddy, aka Bubususa, and I've had him for a little over a year, almost a year and a half at this point. So those are my credentials. I know what I'm talking about. Now, I'm not a breeder with decades of experience or anything, but I have spent a lot of time around these little assholes, and I have to admit that they are definitely not the best pet for everyone. I feel like people see chinfluencers like Philly Chinchilla or Chin Pals, and they're like, oh my gosh, chinchillas are so cute. Look at them holding little tiny props in their hands. Look at them sitting so nice and still and cuddling. I want one. And believe it or not, I was actually one of those people. I mean, I am not immune to chinchilla propaganda. So once I moved out and I had my own money, I started scoring Craigslist, Facebook Marketplace for any chinchilla ads that I could find. And finally, I found my Gus here. And I didn't even change his name. I meant to. I actually was going to try to call him Goose. But Gus kind of just stuck, honestly. Like, he's just a Gus. He's super Gussy. What can I say? So now that you have an idea of my credentials, I just wanted to speak to you directly, someone who may or may not have been affected by chinchilla propaganda yourself, propagated by Big Chinchilla. Now, I'm going to only be talking about the negatives of chinchilla ownership today because I think that those are the most important points to look at when you're looking to bring an exotic animal into your home, especially if that exotic pet requires a ton of research, which chinchillas definitely do. They are not a cat or a dog or a fish. You will have to put in the time learning about their specific needs. If and only if you can make it through all of the negatives of owning a chinchilla, then maybe they are right for you and maybe you should get one. But I would watch through to the end of this video to find out if you are in fact one of those few chosen chinchilla owners. Now, first off, I'm going to debunk all of those cute little videos you see of chinchillas holding tiny little props in their hands. Did you see that? That was me trying to pick Gus up. He hates being handled. I still try to do it once in a while just to get him used to it, but the fact of the matter is that he doesn't like being touched. And also, he won't even really stay in an open area because he's pretty scared of things that are bigger than him, aka me. Sorry, Gussie, I'm like screaming in his ear. Now, I've seen people call chinchillas the cats of the rodent world, and I think that that is just so accurate. Like, they only want to be interactive when it's on their own terms. They will not come up to you if they don't want to hang out with you. And sometimes they act like they don't want to hang out, but they actually do. So they'll come up to you and you give them a scritch, but then they bark at you and you're like, what did I do? I thought that you wanted to be pet. But in fact, that is just the way of the chinchilla. I think that a lot of other chinchilla owners have issues with this too. I am in fact a part of many Facebook chinchilla groups. You can call me old, I don't care. And a lot of people will make posts saying, oh, my chinchilla doesn't let me pet them. What can I do to bond better with them? My chinchilla runs into their hide every time I come into the room. Why do they do that? Chinchillas are definitely just a very skittish prey animal. That is the key operative word here. They are prey animals and you are one giant predator and they do not want to be in your line of sight if they don't know you very well. And then everyone in the comments will be like, haha, my chinchilla hates me. She committed tax fraud under my name, but it's okay because I still love her. Now, whenever you see a video of a chinchilla in a large space interacting with their owners, it means that there was a lot of time and effort put into that bond. And some chinchillas won't even be able to do that. It really depends on the personality of your chinchilla and how much work you're actually willing to put into bonding with the chinchilla. And I honestly even think that I'm one of the lucky ones, even though my chinchillas really don't want to interact with me that much. I've seen people say that every single time they go near their cage, maybe their female chinchilla will spray pee at them, which is something that they can do. Yeah, female chinchillas can spray pee on you, and you don't even want to know what the male chinchillas are capable of, I promise. So if you've seen those videos and you want a cute fluffy chinchilla just because you think that it's going to cuddle with you and hold little props for you, I definitely would not get a chinchilla. Those cuddly chinchillas are mostly the exception and not the rule. It's actually really rare, I feel like, to get a chinchilla that enjoys cuddling. There is no way to guarantee that you'll get a chinchilla that loves affection, so if you're stuck with a chinchilla that hates you and hides in their hide every single time you come into the room, then it's going to be more likely that you're going to rehome them and they're going to have to go through the trauma of finding another home and being scared of the next owner. However, that does not stop me from trying to cuddle with my chinchillas. I read somewhere actually that if they wipe their nose at you like that, it's basically giving a big middle finger. And so sometimes me and Gus will go back and forth just wiping our noses at each other like we're two wizards battling. It's really entertaining and hurtful at the same time. And another reason that the humble chinchilla may not be the best pet for you is that they are very messy. Now, this does not necessarily mean that they're stinky. The chinchilla themselves is actually basically odorless. I've sniffed my chinchillas a couple times and they actually just smell like dust or whatever you put on them. But the thing that does smell is their pee, and they pee a lot. Now, I use fleece as their cage bedding because it's nice and soft on their feet and it's pretty easy to change and clean. But if you have something like aspen shavings throughout your entire cage, then that actually might make it easier to clean. And it also masks the smell a little bit. You just get a nice little cedar pine smell rather than the pea smell. However, even if you do try to keep your chinchilla in one spot, I guarantee that you will start finding pieces of hay, little poops, and especially dust in other corners of your house that they have never been to. I don't know how it happens. There must be some chinchilla fairies sprinkling that shit around everywhere, but it's insane. Now, you know when you give your dog a bath and they shake out all the water all over you and it pisses you off? Well, that's exactly what chinchillas will do with dust, and it will get in your eyes and it will sting, and it's terrible for your lungs. So please, for the love of God, be careful when you're giving these little guys their baths. It's actually also possible to be allergic to their dust or their hay, so I would definitely try and do an allergy test if possible before you get a chinchilla, just to see if you're one of those unlucky few. Now, here's a fun fact of the day. Did you know that one chinchilla can poop up to 250 times a day? Now, with two chinchillas, you can imagine how many beans I deal with on a daily basis. If you want to let out your chinchilla to play with them, it is absolutely essential that you either chinchilla-proof your room or you get them a safe playpen that they cannot chew their way out of. So no wood. I would recommend metal. That's something that they can't actually chew through. So these little fluffs are essentially tiny beavers. They love the taste of drywall and wood, which happens to be what every single apartment and house is made out of. Great news for them, awful news for my baseboards. Now, I'm sure there are chinchillas out there who don't want to cause property damage, but from what I've seen in the Facebook groups, it seems like a lot of chinchillas will just go straight for your baseboard and tear those apart splinter by splinter. I would be very cautious when and where you let them out, just in case you have a little carpenter like I do. Now, one of the most important factors when you're considering buying a chinchilla, in my opinion, is vetting. These little guys are native to South America, which means that they're an exotic pet. And as you might guess from the name, exotic pets require exotic vets. You know how expensive regular vet care has become in the past maybe couple years or so? Well, it's even more expensive at the exotic vet. And a lot of them are super duper understaffed right now, so you'll be paying a lot and you'll be waiting a lot. Obviously, that's not their fault at all, but the last time I took Gus in for a checkup, I paid $75 for them to tell me that he's fat and needs to lose weight. And the price isn't even the biggest issue when it comes to vetting chinchillas. True exotic vets with lots of knowledge specifically about chinchillas, not rabbits, not rats, not guinea pigs, specifically chinchillas, are so difficult to find. They're very few and far in between. A regular vet or an exotic vet with general knowledge may be able to help you with some general symptoms, but if your chinchilla requires any teeth care, which is a really common ailment for them to get, or if they get bloated, you might find yourself driving hours to the next emergency exotic vet who does have a lot of knowledge about chinchillas. If I were you, and after hearing all of this, I still wanted to get a chinchilla, I would definitely call around and vet any exotic vets nearby you just to make sure that they know how to deal with chinchillas and take care of them properly. And speaking of medical care, I really hope you don't live in a super hot climate, because that is exactly what chinchillas hate the most. They need extremely specific temperature regulation, and it can actually be fatal if it's not properly managed. If you look at their gorgeous coats, you might be able to see why they thrive in the cold and hate the heat. It's just like Snoop said with Chinchilla in the Heat, whatever that lyric was. I think he's talking about a coat, but it's still trash. Now, I live in the Pacific Northwest, so year-round, temperature regulation isn't necessarily something that I have to worry about. However, in the 3 months out of the year where it does get above freezing and even get a bit hot, it is essential to have an air conditioner. And when you hear that, I don't mean fan, because fans don't help cool down, because chinchillas don't sweat. I don't mean a swamp cooler, which is a device that uses ice to cool down a room, because humidity is also really bad for chinchillas. I mean an air conditioner. Here in America, we keep our chinchillas around 60 to 70 degrees Fahrenheit. I don't know what that is in Celsius. I'm sorry, I'll pop it up somewhere on the screen here. Now, all chinchillas have different tolerances, but some can experience heat stroke at as little as 71 degrees, or some can go up to 75 or 80 degrees. You really don't know. And that is definitely not something you want to test out with your chinchilla. It is your responsibility to keep your chinchilla cool, even if your power goes out, even if you normally don't use an air conditioner in your area. Your chin can and will die without the proper care. Now, if all these negatives don't sound that bad to you, and you do all of your research and you don't listen to what gritty pet stores say about chinchilla husbandry, because 99% of the time it's usually incorrect or outdated, I would honestly say go for it. While there are a lot of negatives, judging by the length of this video, there also are a ton of positives with chinchilla ownership. If you do get a chinchilla who likes to be pet or even tolerates petting, their coats are so gorgeous and soft. Oh, thanks, buddy. And their personalities are really funny. Gus is really fussy and grumpy yet wise, and Teddy is just a little crack addict. He's kind of a little tweaker, but we still love him. They're so silly and fun to watch, even if they don't necessarily want to interact with you. And it is so rewarding when you finally do gain their trust, even if it's incremental. I remember the first time I gave Gus a really good scratch, I was riding that high for like a week after that. And watching them hold their little sticks and stuff is like free therapy. It's adorable. If there's literally one single person out there who watched this video to the end and learned something new, then I did what I set out to do. Peace. So I am an avid Fuck. This is gonna be a rough one.